Hello students, once again we are in our class and today telephone conversation written by Vol Soinka. Vol Soinka is a Nigerian playwright, poet and an essayist and he is the first African poet to receive Nobel Prize in Literature that was awarded in the year 1986. Remember his full name. It is Akinwande Oluwole Babatunde Soinka. It may be asked in your examination in section A. So Wole Soyinka from Nigeria is our poet for today. Some facts about his life. Akinwande Oluwole Babatunde Soyinka, known as Wole Soyinka, is a Nigerian playwright, poet and essayist. He was born in Yoruba family in Abeokuta in Nigeria. He was deeply involved in Christian teachings and his native tribal spiritualism. So he belongs to a tribe called Yoruba in Nigeria. And at that time, Nigeria was a colony of Great Britain. After studying in Nigeria and the UK, he worked with the Royal Court Theatre in London. He was interested in drama, so he worked with the Royal Court in London. He went on to write plays that were produced in both countries, in theatres and on radio. He was very popular in his country, Nigeria, but his work was liked, especially his dramas, they were liked in London also. Then, important thing, specialty about his life is that he took an active role in Nigeria's political history and its struggle for independence from Great Britain. In 1967, during the Nigerian Civil War, he was arrested and put in solitary confinement for 2 years. So he is a freedom fighter. Soinka has been a strong critic of military dictators as well as other political tyrannies, including the Mugabe regime in Zimbabwe. So he favors democracy. He has tried to establish democracy in his country and has been a hard critic of dictatorship. Much of his writing has been concerned with the oppressive boot and the irrelevance of the color of the foot that wears it. Oppressive boot symbolizes the political oppressive governments. Once, Soinka escaped from Nigeria on a motorcycle and a death sentence was proclaimed against him in absentia. Very interesting fact about him. With civilian rule restored to Nigeria in 1999, he returned to his nation. In Nigeria, he has served as professor of comparative literature till 1999 at the University of Obafemi Awolowo. When the civilian rule was restored in Nigeria, that is in 1999, he was made Professor Emeritus. He has been a professor of creative writing at the University of Nevada, Las Vegas, and has served as a scholar in residence in New York University's Institute of African American Affairs and at Loyola Marymount University in Los Angeles, California, US. He has also taught at the universities of he has also taught at the universities of Oxford, Harvard, and Yale. Soinka was also a distinguished scholar in residence at Duke University in 2008. So he has held so many eminent posts in academia. In December 2017, he was awarded the Europe Theatre Prize in the Special Prize category, that is awarded to someone who has contributed to the realization of cultural events that promote understanding and the exchange of knowledge between people. These phrases fit exactly to works of Wole Soyinka. And not to forget, he was awarded the 1986 Nobel Prize in Literature. After these interesting facts about his life, now let's talk about our this poem, Telephone Conversation. Soinka's this poem, Telephone Conversation, it was written in 1962, but it was published in 1963 in the collection Modern Poetry from Africa. It is a conversation between a white woman and a black man over the telephone and is a satire on racism. So it is just a telephonic conversation between two people, one white lady and another the Nigerian black man, and the tone of the poem is satirical. It describes a phone call between a landlady, the white, and the speaker about renting an apartment. The speaker, the Nigerian black man, he is in London and he needs a premise to live on a rent. The landlady is pleasant and positive in the conversation, positive to the deal, but when she learns that the speaker is a black, she becomes uninterested in the matter. That is the turning point of our poem. Then she starts asking some strange questions. She asks how much black the speaker's skin is, and in response, the speaker cleverly mocks the landlady's ignorance and prejudice. Here he becomes full of humor. Maybe it is because of his earlier similar experiences in London that he shields himself, protects himself through humor. It shows that judging people by their skin color as if they were mere objects dents their own humanity, dents the humanity of those who are asking questions about the color of a man. So now we move to the text of the poem, Telephone Conversation. Imagine that the two people are there on telephone and they have talked about some points already. They have already talked about some points, and now the speaker says the price seemed reasonable, location indifferent. The conversation that has gone up to now, it is very satisfactory, and the price, the amount of the rent is reasonable. It is reasonable to me. I am ready to pay that much as a rent. And location is indifferent. Location, I have no problem for location. All the locations are same for me. So location to location I am indifferent. There is no choice, no preference for the location. Location is all right. The landlady swore she lived off premise, and the most important thing is that there will be no worry about the watching eyes of the landlady. The landlady has assured me that she does not live in that room or near that building which I want to take on rent. She lived somewhere away from that building. So now nothing remained but self confession. Everything is in my favor. I was very happy that at last I got a place which I like. It was a place of my choice. So nothing remained to discuss in the matter. But there remained one thing, that was self confession. I was to accept something about myself. Actually, confession is when we accept our mistake, when we accept our wrongdoing, or when we accept something that we are not fit to. So, the poet is in a mood of, we can say, that he knows the result of his self confession. He has done something wrong. With this sense, he says that I was to reveal the self confession. So, this is the self confession. The price seemed reasonable, location indifferent. The landlady swore she lived off premise. Nothing remained but self confession. Madam, I want. I hate a wasted journey. I'm African. So this is the self confession. Madam, I have experienced this thing earlier also, that I had been there very near to hit the bargain. The matter was well settled, but when the other party saw me personally, they rejected the deal. The deal was not struck. So I have done many journeys to see the place, to see the room. Perhaps the lady has invited our speaker that why not come and see for yourself the room. Then we will make the deal complete. But I have done many wastage journeys to see the room where the deal was rejected after seeing my black color. So I do not want to waste my time this time. So I accept that I am African. And he has used the word I want. I want the lady that yes, please listen to me carefully. I tell you beforehand that I am an African. As usual, silence. There was silence on the other side. Silenced transmission of pressurized good breathing. Voice when it came, lipstick coated, long gold rolled cigarette holder piped, caught I was falling. So there was silence, as has always been. Silenced transmission of pressurized good breathing. I could understand the condition of the lady. The lady was a lady of good breeding. She was well educated, and by the talk we have done so far, it appeared that really she was a good lady, courteous, civilized, a lady of modern thinking. But all these qualities were under pressure because of my that self confession. So that silence conveyed to me that all her positive ideas, all her modern ideas, all her free ideas, all her ideas of equality and brotherhood, everything was under pressure. It was just a testing time for the lady. And when the voice came, I could imagine that the lady was of this type, lipstick coated. Perhaps she has coated her lips with lipstick, long gold rolled cigarette holder piped. Perhaps she was holding a cigarette holder, a pipe to hold the cigarette, and it was coated with gold. So a golden cigarette holder in her hand, thick coat of lipstick on her lips. Perhaps that was the appearance of the lady. Caught I was falling. Have I made something silly? How dark? I had not misheard. Are you light or very dark? When the voice came after my self confession, there was a silence, and when that silence was broken, this was the question asked by the lady. And I could imagine that the lady with lipstick on her lips, a golden pipe in her hands, and perhaps she is lost somewhere and thinking deeply about my color, she asks, how dark? All right, you are an African, but what is the color of your skin? How dark you are? Is it a question? Have I misheard something? No, I had not misheard. The lady repeated herself, are you light or very dark? I want to know what is the color of your skin. Are you light or are you very dark? Button B, button A. It was as if I was asked to push button A or button B to reach a particular menu. We are familiar with these type of askings on telephone. Push button A or push 1 for this menu, push 2 for that menu. But here button B or button A is not in this sense. It is about the system in London, the system about public telephone booths in London. In a public telephone booth of that time, after you put the coin, you were asked to push A or B, whether you want to continue your dialing or you want to cancel your dialing and get the money back. So button B or button A here may mean that if you are light, we may continue with our dealing, but if you are very dark, then I'm sorry, I will have to take my offer back. I cannot rent you my room. So it was just to make a choice. A stench of rancid breath of public hide and speak. It is the same mentality of people who in public they hide this mentality, but in private they are speaking in the same mentality. The mentality is the discrimination on the basis of color of skin, racism, prejudice against race of a man. If you are black, if you are dark black, if you are dark black, then we cannot believe you. You are not trustworthy. You are not a good man. If you are light of hair color, like the English, then you are an honest person. You are civilized. You are well educated. You are welcome. If you are a black, if you are a Negro, there is no room for you in our locality. So I could feel the stench. Stench is the bad smell. Rancid. Rancid is stale. When the lady spoke these words, I could smell the bad smell coming from her mouth that she was hiding in society. In society, in open, they declare that we are modern now, we are educated, we do not believe in racism. But in fact, in their heart, in their mouth, these words, still mentality is still prevailing. So this is the encounter, the opening encounter, and it sets the setting for our poem. That on the telephone conversation, the atmosphere is changed, the feelings are changed as soon as the confession is made that I am a black African. Now the lady is amazed. She does not know how to react because the conversation was going on so well. How can she take the complete turn now? So she is perplexed and she asks these silly type of questions. How dark? Are you light or very dark? But in fact, these are the real concern in the mind of the lady after hearing the word that the person, the tenant is a black African. We will continue the text in our next slide that we are going to take in our next class. So thank you students. Till we meet in our next class. Thank you very much.